not old enough for the AARP. You got one more year.
Too.
This is the Bastrop County Court of Law, March 23rd, 2021. The court calls number 1919885, Whispell children. Mr. Nisenblatt, would you like to make your announcement on the record?
Yes, Your Honor. Oscar Nissenblatt, attorney for the department. I have Gabrielle Keinert as our caseworker, and the department's ready to proceed. We are seeking the termination of the parental rights of Stacy Gladstone.
Okay. Ms. Carter?
Amanda Carter, attorney ad litem for the children.
Ms. Elam, are you reporting for CASA?
Your Honor, the CASA advocate is on the line, Mr. Dustin Robinette, who will be reporting.
Okay. Just give me one moment. Okay, what is CASA recommending?
CASA is recommending that the children return to the mom with a monitored return. Although they are doing well in foster care, we believe that it is under the best interest of the children to be returned with their mother.
And thank you. Mr. Nisenblatt, the department is not recommending that.
No, Your Honor. My direction is that we are to seek termination of the parental rights for Ms. Gladstone.
Okay. Are there any other attorneys involved in the case besides Ms. Carter?
No, Your Honor. I do not believe Ms. Gladstone was ever appointed an attorney or requested an attorney.
Okay. Would you like to make any other opening statement at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Carter, would you like to make any opening statement?
No, Your Honor.
Have you formed an opinion about your recommendation on behalf of the children at this time?
Yes, I have, Your Honor. The kids really, really, really want to get back to their mother's care. And mom has worked some services and she's tested clean. So the kids want to go back to their mom.
Okay. Mr. Nisenblatt, would you like to call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to call Gabrielle Keinert, our caseworker.
Okay. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear the testimony you give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may proceed.
Ms. Tyner, will you please state your full name and your role in this case?
My full name is Gabrielle Tynard. I am the CPS caseworker for Miss Stacy Gladstone and her children, David and Laura Whispell.
And where are the children currently placed?
Children are currently placed in Katy, Texas, in a licensed foster home.
And what is the department requesting today at this hearing?
The department is requesting termination as we have not been able to verify that Miss Gladstone's home is safe and suitable for return to monitor at this point.
And why are these children in the department's care?
The children are in the department's care based on neglectful supervision allegations stemming from 2019, in which we had Ms. Gladstone and her paramour, Lamar Bertram, unable to provide a safe and stable home environment. At that time, Ms. Gladstone had tested positive. She was newly involved in the methadone clinic, and they were performing routine tests on her. She had one of the children in her care when she showed up to the methadone clinic for her dosing, and she was actively high at that point.
Okay, and you mentioned that she tested positive. What did she test positive for?
At that time, she was testing positive for methamphetamines.
And was she the primary caregiver for the children at that time?
She was, yes.
And does the department consider this an abuse and neglect?
We do, yes.
And was a service plan ordered for this mother?
Yes, it was.
Okay, do you recall about when that occurred?
November of 2019.
And has the department, throughout this case, reported her progress to the court?
Yes, the department has.
And has she completed her service plan?
She has not completed her service plan, though she has made very diligent efforts in doing so. She, at this point, has maintained sobriety through the methadone clinic. She has secured housing. She has been unable to secure transportation nor verifiable employment. But she has been able to thoroughly go through parenting courses with our resident Tina Nunley, and also through therapy.
Okay. And have you had the opportunity to talk to the guardian ad litem regarding the children in this case?
I have, yes.
And do you understand that they are requesting a monitor return of these children to the mother?
I do, yes.
And have you shared your concerns, safety concerns, with the CASA representative or CASA?
I have, yes.
Do you have the opportunity to change information regarding housing and employment with CASA?
I have, yes.
And so the department's position, she has not secured housing or stable employment. Did you receive any information otherwise?
I want to clarify that she does have housing. She has an RV. At this time, we are not able to verify employment nor transportation. So without the verifiable employment, we're unsure of how long the housing is going to remain stable.
Did you talk about employment with CASA?
I did, yes.
And what did you learn?
That Miss Gladstone is unable to pursue a job right now, in part due to the not having transportation, but also due to the fact that she is wanting to resume payments. The children are receiving payments, and she is hoping to use that to secure their livelihood.
Oh,
And when you say payments, can you explain more or give more detail? What payments, what source?
I'm sorry. The children's father is deceased, and so the children are receiving SSDI payments. And prior to our involvement, that was helping them to be on a secure payment status for their residency.
And is Lamar Bertram, do Do you know where is Lamar Bertram?
Mr. Bertram is currently incarcerated. Last I checked, I believe he's in the San Marcos County Jail right now. And that was following a DWI incident in September of this past year. He was also involved in the methadone clinic and had been making diligent efforts alongside Ms. Gladstone prior to that to get the kids back into his care and pursue the services listed in the reunification plan. But he relapsed and had the DWI, and he's been incarcerated since then, September of 2020.
Are services being offered to him in his current incarceration?
No, they have not been offered to him since his incarceration.
Is there a visitation plan between Ms. Gladstone and the children?
There is. Visitations are offered to Ms. Gladstone 2 hours twice monthly. However, we have seen a lapse in the visitation over the last couple of months. The department was providing full transportation for Ms. Gladstone and asked her to make diligent efforts to get to the nearest office so that the kids would not be having to be transported all the way from Katy to Bastrop back to Katy. But we were willing to do that but we could not get Ms. Gladstone to make it to Bastrop.
Okay. And so since January of 2021, how many visits has Ms. Gladstone had with the children?
Since January of 2021, Ms. Gladstone has had no physical visits with the children.
And the department has offered transportation for those visits?
For the children, yes.
Now, have you offered it to the mother as well?
Transportation?
Yes.
No, I have not.
Okay. But you stated earlier that you knew mom had transportation or lacked transportation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And did the department make any reasonable accommodations to help mother participate in a visitation plan by offering her transportation?
Not since January of 2021, no, sir.
And this case the deadline in this case has been previously extended, is that correct?
Correct.
And was that because, why did the department request the extension of the deadline?
The department requested an extension initially due to, I'm sorry, are we talking about like in the September? I believe it was September.
Yes.
Okay. We at that point everything was shifting. We saw Mr. Bertram incarcerated. We saw Ms. Gladstone retaining residency in Lockhart. We were hoping, we were very optimistic that we could get on a firm ground so that we could start looking at a return to monitor and what that would look like for her, and getting some really a solid plan in place for those children. The children had just moved a few months prior to their new placement, and so everything was a little bit chaotic, and we wanted to have a little bit more sense of what we were getting into.
Okay, and what has changed, or what has changed between September and now?
It has been. Since September and now, we've seen Ms. Gladstone continue to engage in the methadone clinic and has continued to provide test negative for all other substances other than methadone. We have not been able to verify her involvement in NAAA. She had started doing that. She was relying on a neighbor to get her when they were physically going to get her there. We had asked her for verification of those courses, and we were never really able to get verification of that. We were unable to get a solid ground as far as like what long-term this methadone program was going to look like for her. Though we are hearing now that, that patients involved in that methadone program can be on it for a number of years. We were seeing her begin to make payments. September, October, November, we knew that she had a couple of months paid for, and we were wanting to see what that was going to look like once those months were paid out. We were unable to ever verify income. I know she's doing, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Was that you? Oh, okay. We were, other than AA, we're kind of still sitting in the same spot. We've seen a complacency of sorts, and more so of the complacency as we continue on and we linger on in this case, that we're just not seeing. We're not seeing as much of we're not seeing the effort that we were hoping to see at this point. We wanted to see mom really engaged in making her way to Bastrop or to Lockhart or to LaGrange offices to see the kids. And we weren't seeing that. And that's where we're at.
Okay. And where she moved in September, Lockhart, is that where she is now?
She is, yes.
Okay, so that stayed stable.
That has stayed stable.
I've been here for over a year.
And have the children expressed their desires to you as the caseworker?
They have, yes.
And what are the children wanting?
The children want to go home. The children have a very little understanding of the reasons for removal in the first place. And that's something that we've struggled with as far as the children go throughout the entire course of the case. And that's a further concern for the department, just based on the fact that the children really do have a very low level of emotional maturity. I had them psychologically assessed back in March because I was very concerned with just the fact that they were really just not understanding that there were still things that mom was working on in order to be more stable and take them back into their home. We talked a lot, the children and I, about the fact that mom had homework to do and that she really needed to that we never wanted to see them in this position again, that they needed to know that they were never going to have to be removed from their home again. And once mom had completed her coursework. And they were still telling CASA, they were still telling the LPS workers up there that they just really didn't get it and that they really didn't understand. And their emotional needs reflected on that psychological, reflected that.
And has mom demonstrated to the department through the services her parental abilities?
Her parental what?
Abilities.
Her visits with the children go remarkably well. They really do have a very good bond, a very strong bond. I would say that there's it's been really weird that over the last couple of months with the fact that they haven't really been able to reach her. I know mom has reached out to them, and they report that they and the foster home reports to me that they will call mom and they won't be able to reach her. And then just with the lack of visits, it's been a little bit different than it was previously, which it kind of adds to how we got to this point.
Okay. Pass this witness.
Ms. Carter?
Thank you, Your Honor. Has Miss Gladstone lived in the same place for over a year?
I don't know that it's been a full year. I know that she was there towards the end of the summer. But I don't know.
Sorry.
Ms. Gladstone, if you can
I'm sorry.
refrain from-
Yes, sir.
Thank
Sorry.
you.
I'm sorry, but I don't know that it's been a full year. We have not been able to get a lease agreement. That was one of the things I had requested and I wasn't able to obtain.
So one of the department's concerns is this future hypothetical eviction,
Correct.
despite her living in the same place for months.
So I think that it has more so to do with the fact that we couldn't get verifiable income. Like we couldn't verify her income. We couldn't get her to obtain employment that was trackable, I guess, for that matter. We know that she was cleaning RVs on site, and we know that there had been a lot of turnover, and that had been at one point struggling because there wasn't the people that she was cleaning for were moving out. And so that's been a concern for the department, but it has more to do, I think, with the income than the fact that she's been able to maintain residency.
Okay. Do you have any other concerns with her home?
With her home, I do have concerns. Should Mr. Bertram move back into the home is relatively small. It is a smaller RV. There is no designated space for the children. I know that people are able to create homes out of an RV living situation all the time, but this one does have a considerable lack of privacy for the ages of the children.
Approximately how old is the RV?
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that question.
Have you been inside the RV?
I have.
And was it tidy?
It was livable. It was absolutely livable. And I wouldn't go as far as say that it would. Yes, it was. I'll say that it was not unclean.
Is there any sanitation concerns within the home?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
And you testified that the kids have a strong bond with Miss Gladstone. Is that correct?
I did, yes.
Okay. Are you aware they speak to their mother regularly via Facebook Messenger?
So I am. So this is I'm conflicted on that point, because I get reports from foster mom and from the LPS worker who tell me that the kids complain that they are not able to get a hold of mom, or that they are not able to talk to her. And then I get complaints from Miss Gladstone saying that she hasn't been able to speak to the children. But I'm also aware that the kids are telling others that that's not the case. So I'm not entirely sure where the dividing line is on approximately how much they're speaking virtually.
Okay. Who is receiving the SSDI payments now?
I believe that they're being held by the eligibility department.
And in your experience, is it common for SSDI payments to go towards rent or home expenses for the kids?
This is a new experience for me, so I do not have a full understanding of how that works.
And you said Miss Gladstone was employed cleaning RVs on site.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know if she's still working there?
I know that she has a few, the last time we spoke that she was still doing. I know originally she had, I want to say anywhere between 3 and 6. And I know that approximately half of those had moved out. I know she had mentioned that. I don't know currently how many she's got going on.
Are you privy to her monthly income?
No, I am not.
Okay. Do you know if she's receiving any sort of government benefits or financial assistance?
I know that she had applied for disability, and I don't know what the outcome of that became.
And you testified earlier that this case was started, and one of the main reasons it was started was because of mom testing positive for drugs. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. When is the last time she had a positive drug test?
I believe it was prior to prior to COVID. I want to say January, maybe January of that of 2020. It was definitely prior to COVID. She's been able to maintain just methadone positives for quite some time.
Okay, so she's been sober as far as the department's concerned for over a year.
Yes, ma'am.
So is the department seeking termination because Ms. Gladstone is poor?
No.
Okay.
The department is seeking termination because we are unable to recommend a return to monitor at this time. There were policies and procedures that had to be followed, and guidelines to allow for a guideline of safety and risk. And at that point, I wasn't able to advocate for a safe return and monitor to begin.
Okay. So it's a policy that you move forward with termination in lieu of monitored return at this point?
At this point, I was left with no option other than termination, as we couldn't advocate for a safe return for the children.
I'll pass this witness, Judge.
Ms. Gladstone, you are not represented by an attorney. An attorney would be able to, on your behalf, ask Ms. Tynert some questions. So you may do so on your own. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask her?
Well, I don't know about questions. Is there a couple of things I could say maybe?
You will have an opportunity at the conclusion of Mr. Mizenblatt's case to testify on your own. Or
really,
Mr.
the only question would be,
or Ms. Carter calls you as a witness, you may testify then also.
okay, well, I mean, I was just wondering what the safety thing that she's speaking about.
Okay, well,
because
if you want to ask her those questions, you can.
Okay, I don't have any questions, sir.
Okay, Mr. Mizenblatt, any further questions for this witness?
Ms. Tyner, does the department feel, based on the information you have and you've collected as the caseworker, safely return these children to Ms. Gladstone?
Not at this time.
No further questions, John.
Okay, do you have any additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Pardon me?
Oh, no, Your Honor. Sorry.
Okay. Ms. Carter, do you have any witnesses to present?
I'll call Ms. Gladstone.
Okay, Ms. Gladstone, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear the testimony you give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Carter, you may proceed.
Ms. Gladstone, can you state your full name for the record, please?
Stacy Ann Gladstone.
And you're here because you're David and Laura's Whispell's mother, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And there's been some talk about concerns about your RV and your living space, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. My landlord has said that he would speak to Gabby at any time, because he said if I know if the kids are coming home, he would actually let me trade this RV for a bigger RV. And that's part of it. I clean other people's RVs, and he wants to let me clean, because they buy RVs and they rent them out here, and he lets me do that clean for him as well.
Okay. What is your current address?
It's 270 Hidden Path, HIDDENPATH. It's lot 103, Lockhart, Texas, 78644.
And how long have you lived there?
Since January of 2020.
Okay. And I assume you pay rent on that lot, is that right?
Yes, $475 a month.
Okay. Are you currently up to date on your rent?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you ever been delinquent on your rent?
No,
There.
ma'am. No, ma'am.
And it's your plan to get a larger RV should the kids come home?
Yes, ma'am. Because they have one with like 2 bedrooms, and I could let each of the kids have a bedroom, and I could sleep on the couch.
Are you using illegal drugs? or overusing alcohol at this time?
No, ma'am. September 26th of 2019 was the last time I used any drugs.
Okay. And assuming kids are going to school in person, does the school bus come and facilitate children to and from the RV park where your trailer is?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it your opinion that you're going to get the kids to the bus stop and pick them up from the bus stop?
Yes, ma'am. It would be at the end of the driveway here where the stop sign. There's a little when you come off of 2001, there's a little dirt road. It says dead end, and that's how you come out of the parking lot here, and that's where the bus would come. Because there's a couple of other kids that catch the bus.
Okay. And you have a plan to stay employed, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you ever applied for Social Security disability benefits?
Actually, right now, I did apply, and they sent me, it was like a 22-page thing, like asking, if I need help dressing and, what all hurts and all that. They're supposed to set me up an appointment with the doctor.
Okay. And what is the nature of your disability?
It's my knee. I was supposed to have a knee replacement back in 2016, and I never did. And I was in a wreck last year, and in January of last year, and my ACL was torn and it healed back messed up, and the meniscus is cracked, and there's just a bunch of stuff wrong with it. I walk with a brace on it, and I have to elevate it a lot because it'll swell up a lot. So if the disability, I don't want to be on a long time. I just, enough. I would like to be able to get my knee fixed, and because I also want to go to school.
Okay. Would you say you're bonded with your kids?
Very much, very much.
How often do you talk to your kids?
Well, since all this year, since we're not visiting, we were talking probably about 3 times a week. Talk on Facebook, and then my phone crashed. I had to get a new phone, so I had to start a new Facebook. And so my sister-in-law, where the kids were living before where they're at now, their daughter is the one that had got the Facebook Messenger for kids started, and she's actually trying to fix it again for us. So
okay. Are you able to adequately care for your kids?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you prepared to adequately care for your kids should the court order them returned to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Anything about your home unsafe?
No, ma'am.
Are you working on getting transportation?
Yes, ma'am.
And what steps have you done to facilitate that?
Well, first of all, is actually getting my license back. I have one more surcharge to pay for, and I'm applying for the indigent thing. I went to the workforce, and I printed out the application. I filled it out, and I mailed it in. So, and that was about a week and a half ago. So once I get that, I can get my regular license back, because to get a occupational license, it costs a whole lot.
Okay. Would you agree that you and your kids have struggled financially pretty much their whole lives?
No, not their whole lives, no.
Okay. Would you agree that you and your children are used to making do with what you have?
Oh, we always make do with what we have, and then I try to teach the kids that, like, materialistic stuff, like, the brand new Air Jordans, that's not as important as like having what you need.
What school would the kids attend should they be returned to you?
Oh, it would be here in Lockhart.
Okay. I'll pass this witness.
Mr. Nisenblatt, do you have any questions for her?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Gladstone, can you tell me a little bit about the methadone clinic and your involvement with that clinic?
Yes, sir. I got involved there in 2015. I had a hip replacement, and I started taking the pills, the hydrocodone and the MS Contin, and I started taking them too much, and I got addicted to them. And so I got on the waiting list at the methadone program, and I had to wait 9 months. I called twice a week, every week, and I got in 6 months after I got on the list. And I used to go every day. I go once a week now. I have a counselor there that I talk. And there's also a peer counselor they just started there, and I just started talking with her last week. And I just started doing these classes online. They're called MARA. It's Medication Assisted Recovery Anonymous. It's like AA, but it's for people that take methadone or Suboxone and stuff.
And do you provide that information to Ms. Tyner?
I emailed her a whole bunch of stuff. I thought I emailed that too. I didn't. I can email that to her today. And as far as a lease goes for where I live at, he doesn't do leases, but I've given her the address and the phone number to my landlord, and he said he would speak to her at any time.
Okay. And how do you get to and from the methadone clinic?
I used to get a ride with the Medicaid, and now I have neighbors. I usually have a neighbor take me.
And did you ask these neighbors if they could take you to visits with your children?
Most of them work during the day, and she always would say it had to be on a Friday. And I have 2 people that if I could have had a visit on a Monday or Tuesday, I could have done that.
Did you ask for those accommodations for a Monday, Tuesday visit?
Well, she said that because the foster mother was every other Friday.
So did you ask if they could be on Monday and Tuesday?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Well, no, I think I did. Well, I did tell her the days that I could go. I didn't ask her if she could change it, but I did tell her what days I could get a ride. Because I also told her that it would cost me $80 to go to Bastrop in an Uber, because I checked that out.
Who is Lamar Bertram?
That's the guy that I have lived with since 2017. We got married and everything at the church we went to.
Okay, so y'all are married?
Yes. Well, we got the certificate and the pastor signed it, but I never mailed it in. So it never got filed.
And did you meet him at this methadone clinic?
No, we used to be neighbors.
Okay. And is it your plan that Mr. Bertram will, when released from jail, will come back to live with you?
Well, honestly, I don't know if he is gonna get out because he's had more than one DWI, but the only way I would let him come back is if we were already in a bigger place, if the kids are here. Because he can have home health come and take care of him and stuff.
Your answer kind of broke up. The connection kind of broke up. You said that he had more than just a DWI. Can you explain?
Yes,
that
he's had DWIs. He's had DWIs in the past. It said 3rd or more DWI. But I did tell Gabby, if this is going to cause a conflict with me getting the kids back, then then he and I can separate and live in different places.
Pass this witness.
Ms.
Sorry.
Gladstone, is there anything in addition that you would like to say on your own behalf at this time?
Well, it said, I thought I did everything that was on the plan. I did the counseling. I did the psychological thing. I really want the kids back because, we belong together, and there's nothing I would ever do to jeopardize anything ever again in life. If I ever let anything jeopardize us not being a family again. Sorry, that's it.
Okay, do Ms. Carter or you, Mr. Nisenblatt, have any further questions for her?
I do not, Your Honor.
I do not, Your Honor.
Ms. Carter, do you have any additional witnesses to call?
I do not, Your Honor.
And Ms. Gladstone, do you have any other witnesses?
No, sir.
Mr. Robinette, would you like to give your report by narrative?
Yes.
Hold on a second. I didn't swear you in earlier. Let me do that now.
Okay.
Do you swear the testimony you give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, you may proceed.
Okay. So I guess CASA's really their recommendation, like I said before, was monitor to return. We believe that the children are doing well in the foster home, but they have really expressed their desire to be returned to their mother. Under those recommendations, we are recommending collaborative family engagement, which would give the family a support system, and it would help them find a long-term support system. We do also recommend that the children and the mother continue family therapy or begin family therapy. And then finally, that the mother continue to actively participate in her service plans, if I guess any are given following, and then follow all recommendations and cooperate with the department. And that would be all I have.
Okay. Mr. Nizenblatt, do you have any questions?
Sorry. No, Your Honor.
Ms. Carter, do you have any questions?
I do not, Your Honor.
Mr. Nizenblatt, would you like to make any closing argument?
Just briefly, Your Honor, as Ms. Tyner stated, the department's position in this case, because we had already granted an extension in this case, and because we had not seen any further progress, the department is concerned about the children returning to this home, and we're kind of faced with this situation of kind of unknown and uncertainty. So we proceeded on this case. I believe there's sufficient facts to show that there are safety concerns on returning these children to this home. And because of that, we feel that our decision point to proceed with termination was in the best interest of these children.
Ms. Carter, would you like to make a closing?
Yes, briefly, Your Honor. You've heard testimony today about how mom has had a stable home for over a year. She's been clean for over a year. She is employed, albeit unfortunate. It's not her fault she doesn't have a lease. And I think, you've heard testimony that essentially can be summed up of the department has a big issue with her financial situation, and there's no safety concerns. The kids want to be returned to their mom, and there's been no evidence put on today that rises to the burden for termination of Ms. Gladstone's parental rights.
Okay, are the parties ready for my ruling?
Yes.
Okay. I think there's a lot to be concerned with Ms. Gladstone's circumstances, but not so much that that I would be willing to terminate her parental rights at this time. So I will grant the return and monitor to begin today. Let's see, April 1st. Ms. Gladstone, if you need to make any RV or changes, do it by April 1st.
Yes, sir. I will go to my landlord as soon as we're done with this. He's on the property right now.
Okay. Second of all, I'm not sure about the driver's license. The state of Texas isn't doing surcharges anymore, so I'm not sure that I'm not sure about what the circumstances of that would be, but you need to check into that because they abolished the surcharges a couple of years ago, and I'm not sure what exactly you are paying on or what would prevent you from doing that.
Your Honor, I think it's I think she's referring to Omni fees. They don't waive those, but they waive the surcharges. So you still owe a portion.
Ms. Gladstone, how much do you owe?
It's like $200 and something. I about 5 or 6 years ago, I went under the amnesty program because there was a certain amount of years where they did where you only had to pay 10%. And so I paid all these off. And then there was one that popped up from when I used to live with a friend of mine back in like, I think it was like 1999. And it was for no insurance that I had.
Ms. Carter, because knowing more about that would benefit the children, would you look into that?
Yes, Your Honor, I can.
Yes, sir.
The court will also enjoin Ms. Gladstone from having Mr., what is his name? Pardon me?
Bertram.
Mr. Bertram from residing in the home
Okay.
without further court order.
Okay.
That does
Okay.
not sound like a good idea for the children. And if we're going to allow it.
Right.
Now, after we lose jurisdiction, assuming you do well during the return and monitor, it's not my call. It's your call.
Well, I'm
Right
pretty
now,
sure
while
he's
we
going to
have-
be there for a long time anyway.
I just, if it's going to happen, I want it to be that we've approved it in advance, that it not
Right.
be anything accidental or something we don't know about. Are there any other issues that I have not addressed?
Mm.
Okay.
Do we need to address the SSDI payments being rerouted to Ms. Gladstone?
But I honestly, those can just if it stay in like a savings account or whatever for them, except like when school comes for like school clothes and stuff.
Right.
I mean, I don't need it to pay rent or anything like that.
Mr. Nisenblatt, can you look into that?
Yes, Your Honor, I'll talk to the department's eligibility unit.
Ms. Tyner, you were going to say something?
I was just gonna say, from my understanding, once we have placement, it'll be rerouted. It's a kind of an automatic thing that takes place.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. This will conclude the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good day.
Thank you.